Good evening. Welcome to this evening's newscast on Kaieteur Radio. Kevin Smith here. Without further ado, let's get to the news in detail. Chartered accountant and attorney at law Christopher Ram recently highlighted that Guyana's leaders made a colossal blunder in 2016 when they allowed the Stabroek Block production sharing agreement to carry a certain provision that sees the state paying the income taxes for ExxonMobil, Hess, and CNOOC. But what he finds more preposterous and mind-boggling is the fact that the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, one of the nation's development partners on the sector, encouraged Guyana to continue with the provision in spite of the fact that it is not consistent with any of its laws. Ram had previously noted that the provision that sees Guyana paying the income taxes for the oil companies out of its share of the profit oil is called the Pay on Behalf formula. The chartered accountant was keen to note that Guyana's use of the formula is not catered for in two of the nation's laws. And in other news, the Natural Resource Governance Institute, or NRGI, one of the world's leading non-profit organizations dedicated to helping countries properly manage their oil and gas wealth, recently conducted an assessment on Guyana and found that its systems for revenue management are weak. Given the prospects of high revenue in the coming years, NRGI said this is clearly a major red flag. On a positive note, NRGI noted that Guyana obtained good scores regarding the government's disclosure of the national budget and national debt. It further noted that the former government's decision to create the Natural Resource Fund in 2019 with clear withdrawal rules that control the amount that is transferred to the national budget constitutes a step towards sound economic policy for the sector. And now let's tell you, with Guyana being the Caribbean Development Bank's largest recipient of loans, newly elected bank president Dr. Jean Leon arrived in Guyana on Friday, July 9th, for his first official visit to the country since taking up the leadership of the bank in May of 2021. In 2020, CDB's project approvals in Guyana included $9.9 million for the construction of a modern hospitality training institute and $190 million for upgrading 121 kilometers of roadway from Linden to Mabura Hill, the largest project ever in the bank's history. Guyana is one of the founding members of CDB, having joined in 1970, and the bank has been a leading partner in the country's development over the past half-century. CDB funding in Guyana has been used for social and economic infrastructure, including schools, water systems, and climate-resilient roads. And now let's tell you, Court 1 of the Georgetown Magistrates Courts heard yesterday that a man is presently lying in the ICU of the Georgetown Public Hospital after his cousin tried to kill him with a pressure pot cover. The patient in the ICU has been identified as Kenford Paul of East Loppeniton squatting area, Georgetown, and his cousin, who allegedly tried to murder him, is 21-year-old Adolphus Siratam. The attack on Paul took place on Saturday, July 10th, at a house in East Rhymeville, Georgetown. Siratam was remanded to prison until August 5th, 2021. Siratam was charged based on the information gathered so far from a police investigation and the seriousness of the offense. Based on information gathered, Siratam allegedly attempted to murder Paul over an empty pressure pot. And now let's tell you, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa and Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce Onij Waldron on Wednesday signed a Memorandum of Understanding which seeks to further develop the agri-tourism policy in Guyana. Minister Mustafa said that the understanding establishes a shared ambition between the two ministries in an effort to collaborate, coordinate, and implement the development of the agri-tourism policy in Guyana. Minister Mustafa also said that agritourism acts as a mechanism for diversification and income generation for farmers. This, he said, would be achieved through on-farm activities that would help to maintain the viability of farms and rural communities. In other news, in a serious condition at the Georgetown Public Hospital is a woman who was reportedly stabbed to her chest with a pitchfork on Sunday last while trying to pull her brother from a gambling fight. The woman has been identified as Otley White of Lamaha squatting area, Georgetown, and the individual who allegedly stabbed her is 53-year-old Denise Hillman, a vendor who resides in the same area. Hillman was charged with causing grievous bodily harm with intent to commit murder and remanded to prison until August 5th. On Sunday last, White's husband, that should be White's brother, and Hillman's son were gambling. The young men reportedly got into a misunderstanding and a fight erupted around 17 hours 30. White had rushed over to assist her brother by attempting to pull him from the fight. Upon seeing this, Hillman, who was some distance away, allegedly armed herself with a pitchfork and approached White, stabbing her to the right side of her chest. And to wrap things up this evening, let's tell you that on Monday, July 12th, the U.S. Department of Treasury granted a sanctions waiver, which in effect empowers U.S. companies to export re-export liquid petroleum gas supplies to Venezuela. This sanction waiver is the first move by the Biden administration to ease sanctions on the economically hard-hit country, according to S&P Global Platts, and is very much driven by humanitarian concerns, according to a source familiar with the matter. The Treasury waiver, called General License Number 40, allows LGP, that should be LPG, exports or re-exports to Venezuela through July 8, 2022. It does not allow the suppliers to receive payment in kind of petroleum or petroleum products. According to the source privy to the matter, the waiver also empowers U.S. banks to be able to facilitate the trades, an action which has been wholly banned under Venezuela's U.S. sanction. The next potential Venezuela sanctions waiver might allow diesel for crude swaps to resume, analysts say. And with that, we've come to the end of this evening's newscast. Kevin Smith here. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place